Welcome to this series of videos covering the components of the early drum set. The Chinese cymbal comes to us, of course, from the Chinese culture, when an influx of immigrants from China came to the United States. In the Chinese culture, cymbals were used to make racket to scare away evil spirits, oftentimes at funerals and celebrations. American politicians in the early 1800s would often use Chinese cymbals to bring attention to a political rally or a speech they were giving. In August of 1865, the Daily Milwaukee News features an advertisement from the musical instrument dealer Hempstead, which shows Turkish cymbals and Chinese cymbals being sold. And in 1920, big news was made in San Francisco when an imports dealer, the Sing Chong Company, was in customs court. And the conflict was about import duty tax. You see, manufactured metal was taxed at 20%, but musical instruments were taxed at 45%. With the widespread use of Chinese cymbals in jazz bands at that time, you can imagine he lost. Chinese cymbals on an early drum set were often found side by side with a choke cymbal. Cymbal stands hadn't been invented yet, so everything was mounted on the hoop. There were two kinds of mounts. One was more secure than the other. One would hold onto the edge of the counter hoop only, and the other would secure to the counter hoop and the flesh hoop together, making a very tight connection. Although Chinese cymbals varied in size, 12 inches to 15 inches was very common. Some cymbals were riveted and others were left plain. The most common use of the Chinese cymbal in the jazz band setting was as an accent for the afterbeat. In cut time, this would be the and of 2, and in common time, 4/4 time, that would be on beat 4. And remnants of this early jazz technique still remained in the 1950s, when Bill Haley and his Comets recorded their hit, "We're Gonna Rock Around the Clock." In our next video, we'll be looking at the early drum set component that comes to us from the world of livestock management, the cowbell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side. This activity is made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the East Central Regional Arts Council, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.